to the 41st episode of the SCC Online Weekly Rewind. I am Prachi Bhardwaj, and in this episode I have got for you the top legal story from the week gone by, some interesting updates from the Supreme Court and the High Courts, and also some legislative updates. This week's top story has to be the one where 3 men get to walk free after being on death row for 6 years. In a big relief to 3 death row convicts, a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court has acquitted all of them of charges of killing 6 members of their own family after it was found that the prosecution had failed to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. On 23rd of January 2014, 6 members of a family, including 2 children aged 15 and 8, were found brutally murdered. It was prosecution's case that one Momin Khan with his wife Nazra, along with his first cousin and nephew, came armed with knives and assaulted his parents, his brother, sister-in-law and 2 children. While the trial court convicted and sentenced all 4 to death, the Allahabad High Court affirmed the sentence imposed on 3 men but acquitted the woman. The Supreme Court, however, found several loopholes and inconsistencies in the prosecution's story and was surprised at how the trial court and the High Court had dealt with the case in such a casual manner while considering the question of life and death of the accused. After a series of judgments before and after the Constitution Bench verdict in New India Assurance Company Limited case on March 4, 2020 gave contradictory views with respect to discretion of NCDRC to condone the delay beyond 45 days, thereby creating uncertainty over the applicability of the Constitution Bench verdict, the Supreme Court has settled the controversy once and for all and has held that the Constitution Bench judgment would not affect applications that were pending or decided before March 4, 2020. On March 4, 2020, the Constitution Bench had held that the limitation period under Section 13 plus 2 of the Consumer Protection Act 1986 could not be extended beyond the statutorily prescribed period of 45 days. Noticing that the allotment of government lands on the basis of discretionary quota inevitably leads to corruption, nepotism and favoritism, the Supreme Court has suggested that discretionary quota should be done away with, and allotment of the public properties or plots must be through public auction by and large. The observation came in a case where the officials of the Bhubaneswar Development Authority and the Housing and Urban Development Department of Orissa hatched a criminal conspiracy for allotment of 10 plots in the discretionary quota arbitrarily and to their own family members or relatives. In an important ruling on the rights of the LGBTQA community, the Kerala High Court has directed the Kerala government to take strict action against the forced conversion therapy of LGBTQA community in the state. The bench also directed the government to constitute an expert committee and form a guideline based on that in this regard. In another interesting development, the Kerala High Court slammed the Kerala State Commission for Child Rights for directing psychiatric treatment for wife of the accused without any jurisdiction. Expressing anguish over the factum that the commission had aided the accused in trespassing the house of the victim and forcefully admitting her in the hospital, the bench remarked, The case is very distressing insofar as the respondent prima facie has been attempting to style his wife as a mental patient before various forums. The court noticed that the respondent, employed in the law department of the state and also once appointed as a temporary magistrate, wants to use his official clout to witch hunt his wife and children. Holding that the accused have no right to claim subjecting themselves to narcotic analysis test to prove innocence, the Kerala High Court has observed the limitation of Narco Test and stated that the possibility of accused himself making exculpatory statements to support his defense also cannot be ruled out. There is no mechanism or the present investigating agency is not equipped to assess the credibility of such revelations of the accused. In a very important decision, the Kerala High Court has held that presents given at the time of the marriage to the bride without any demand having been made in that behalf and which have been entered in the list maintained in accordance with the rules made under the Dowry Prohibition Act will not come within the purview of Section 3 Clause 1 of Dowry Prohibition Act, which prohibits giving or taking of dowry. Justice Hari Shankar of Delhi High Court, expressing that he was an avowed aficionado and an admirer of Agatha Christie, quashed the order which refused the trademark registration to Agatha Christie's most well-known work, And Then There Were None. The Delhi High Court also observed that if the mark is distinctive and is not identical or confusingly or deceptively similar to any earlier mark which is registered or in use from a prior date in respect of similar goods or services, or which results in the passing off by the applicant of its goods or services as those of another, registration of the mark is a matter of right. In another decision, the Delhi High Court, while expressing its opinion on the position of an advocate in law, expressed that an advocate owes to the litigating public, the court, his client, and to the opposite parties the highest degree of probity and transparency. The court elaborated that when the court finds that the appearance of an advocate before it is not in keeping with the standards expected of the legal profession and is likely to prejudice a fair espousal and prosecution of the list, the court can step in and restrain such appearance. Explaining the significance of shared household, the Delhi High Court has explained that where a residence is clearly a shared household, it would not bar the owner from claiming eviction against her daughter-in-law if circumstances call for it, while allowing the mother-in-law's prayer seeking possession of the subject property to the exclusion of the daughter-in-law. The court said that the protection under the DV Act assuring the residence of the aggrieved person in the shared household does not vest any proprietary or indefeasible right on the aggrieved person. The government of Bihar has notified the Bihar Biological Diversity Amendment Rules 2021 to extend the tenure of biodiversity management committees till the tenure of government advisory committees. The government of Maharashtra has revised the excise duty for wine manufacturers holding license in Form BRL. As a result, the wines manufactured from any substance and without addition of alcohol and without manufacturing or blending with imported concentrate or imported bulk wine shall be exempted from excise duty in excess of ₹10 per bulk litre. The Dam Safety Act received President's assent in order to provide for surveillance, inspection, operation and maintenance of the specified dam for prevention of dam failure related disasters and to provide for institutional mechanism to ensure their safe functioning. Read the details about the acts on the SCC online blog. That's all from this week. Stay tuned to the SCC online blog for the best analytical legal news.